Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Studio.
Mark, we know they want to take our guns, and now we're going to make them eat it.
It's 2021. We're in a new decade.
Freedom might be an uphill battle sometimes, but freedom will always prevail.
Proudly presented to you by X Insurance. X Insurance. On the Lead Slingers microphone, here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Inside these Armed American Radio Monster Cast Car Firearms Group studios with you, I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom all across the country on hundreds of radio stations on the Lead Slingers microphone, all of it presented to you by X Insurance and a group full of amazing partners. Please visit armedamericanradio.com and support the partners that make this program possible. Now in its 13th year, an amazing 13-year run. We've never not given you new content. We've never run a 3-hour repeat in 13 years. That is remarkable. We are proud of that. And as long as God gives us breath in these lungs, we're going to continue to do it for you. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast now on a roll. We're going to fill your prescription for freedom. If you were listening to the previous hour, wow, Gottlieb just gives us, he's been out for a couple weeks. He's got a lot. You heard him say that if you were listening to the previous hour, that he's having some surgery on his eyes. Nothing serious. Just about a little 30-minute deal, but it's a pain for him. So keep him in your thoughts. Say a prayer for him that everything goes well. It's messing with your eyes, you know what I mean? But everything is good. He's in good health there. So I want to let you know that. I had seen a couple text messages. Was Alan okay? Yes, he is. Pretty much routine stuff. But keep him in your thoughts and prayers. We'd appreciate it. I know he and his family would. Great stuff with him, and then great follow-up. AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News talked a little bit about Manchin and what's going on there and what that means. And we're going to bring some of those subjects back into this hour as well because we kind of have to, and we're going to hit a whole bunch of new stuff as well because my guest now is Sheriff Kurt Hoffman. Now, if you know anything about Sheriff Kurt Hoffman, he's the individual that wrote a response to the Brady Bunch that wanted to meet with him, and he basically said, no, I don't support your agenda. I know what your agenda is all about. And I'm not going to give it any dignity. The answer is no. Sheriff Kurt Hoffman, Sarasota County, Florida. How you doing, brother? Your picture is up here in the studio with us. Great to have you here, bro.
Hey, Mark. Thanks so much. Hope you had a great 4th of July. I did, celebrating this wonderful country that we live in, and had an opportunity to be at a retirement party for my cousin who spent 37 years in the United States Marine Corps, and
nice.
Just had a great 4th of July. Hope you did too.
Absolutely did. And, let's go there. Can you believe, because I know, when I was growing up, I'm no spring chicken. I'm in my 50s, not old by any stretch. But I remember a different America. 4th of July, man, there was no question of patriotism. There was no athlete turning their back on flags and being upset and ticked off, feeling set up because they're on a medal stand. And they feel set up because the national anthem played. Like, Sheriff, what in the world, man, is happening?
It just defies logic that you can have the privilege that you have in this country to go represent your country and to participate, inside the United States, outside the United States, under the auspices of our flag. And then when you're on the medal stand, you turn your back on that flag. Now, I'm about the same age as you, Mark. I'm 55 this year, and I'll tell you, my dad was on the beach in Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Wow.
My uncle was shot down and killed in '68 in a helicopter in Vietnam fighting for this country. And I just mentioned my cousin, 2 Bronze Stars, fighting the Taliban in the Hindu Kush in the mountains of Afghanistan. So in the Hoffman family, you don't turn your back on the flag. You don't set the flag on the ground. You don't disrespect the flag. You don't turn the flag into a beach towel or a pair of shorts. And that's just the way it was in my family. And unfortunately, we're a long, long way away from the respect that we used to have for our country and for the flag. It just saddens me to see what she did up on that medal stand.
Yeah, I heard, I don't remember who it was commenting, but, I've always said to my kids, second place is first loser. Now, we medal the top 3, okay? Gold, silver, bronze. That's great. Great accomplishment. But second place, I forget who it was saying that second place is first loser, and third place that if she wanted to win a gold, she has to fight harder, she has to fight better. But does America want to support an athlete that will do that? Not only that was in Oregon she did that. She's going to represent the United States on foreign soil in Tokyo. Is she going to stand and turn her back on the flag on a foreign country? I'm going to guess that's the game. Isn't that the plan?
I would think that she would, and to your point, Mark, if she fought half as hard to get a gold medal as she did to fight against the flag that put her on the podium in the first place. And, I was listening to Judge Janine the other night, and she made a good point. What about those two other athletes out there?
Right.
This is their career and their family, and they got to put up with somebody putting a T-shirt that says athlete activist over their head while you're up there for your family to see, and you're, representing your country and proudly doing so, and then you get this shenanigans. It makes me sick, but I'm not surprised by it.
Sadly, I'm not surprised by it either, but here's what we can do about it. I think you're going to see a big, big, big turnaround in 22 in this country. I think Americans have had enough of this. I think they're on to the fake news. I think they're on to the narratives being driven, and I think they're sick of it. And I think that's being evidenced by how many people are pouring out of these states whose governors and town councils espouse all this garbage. They're leaving. They're going to where you are. And your governor, DeSantis, great guy, Sheriff Kurt, said that he is seeing a 4-to-1 Republican voter registration increase out of people that are fleeing those states. So now you're seeing conservatives get out and go, you know what? I've had it. I'm not going to, my taxpayer dollars are not going to support this nonsense. And I'm hopeful that that's a pattern. What do you think?
It's definitely a pattern, Mark, and I can only tell you anecdotes when I talk to people from New York and New Jersey. Recently, a friend of mine sold his house to a couple from California that literally threw their stuff in a van and drove to Florida because of what we're doing here and what Governor DeSantis is doing here. So, my first fear was obviously we're going to have a whole bunch of liberals move here from the Northeast, but I think it's those folks that are tired of being taxed, tired of having their Second Amendment rights infringed upon, as we know is going on right now in New York, and hopefully we turn that around up there when they shove that case back down their throat there. But, California, I read a couple stories about Arizona, New Mexico, some of these places. Obviously, we know the places that are dangerous around the country, right? Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, San Francisco. I sat next to a sheriff from King County, Washington, Seattle, right? And she told me this is her 33rd year. When she retires, she's moving to Siesta Key, Florida. So if that tells you anything, I think people realize Florida's not a bad place to be, if you want profound liberty and you want the ability to exercise your Second Amendment rights and have a state that's free and open and very prosperous in terms of our business right now. We're not walking around wearing masks like some of these states still are. This state's open for business.
By the way, Siesta Key, very beautiful place. Been there many times. What county is that in Florida?
Sarasota County, my county.
You're the sheriff. So you see how this? You welcome. Look, I'm with you on this. I lived in Florida, as you know, for a long time, and the Hillsborough County area. Hillsborough, you're listening on AM 860, The Answer right now. We love you guys. You're my own station. Can't wait to get back down there. Captain Matt Bruce is tuned in right now, preparing for his own radio show later this evening. I hope you tune into that. The Captain's America Third Watch on 860. But Hillsborough used to be red. Pinellas, I think you're going to see. There's a lot of dynamics in play in Florida right now. Charlie Crist trying to play the chameleon. Pinellas, you're tuned in. You're listening right now. And I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to backfire on him. And I think Pinellas finally fills that 13th district seat the right way. And I think you begin to see that I-4 corridor begin to shift red again. Could I be right on that, or is it just wishful thinking on my part?
No, I think you are, Mark. And the only thing you're wrong about is by saying that he's trying to be a chameleon. He's been a chameleon. Charlie Crist has been a chameleon for many years. And finally, he's been exposed. Obviously, running against Nikki Fried, she's been exposed and will be exposed more. But you made a good point earlier too about the media. I think the more that I'm out and about and talking to people, and as you know, maybe you don't know, we had President Trump was here in Sarasota last week, and this week I've got a hurricane. It's been a busy week down here in Sarasota. But the turnout for President Trump, there were almost 40,000 people
that's crazy, isn't it?
at our fairgrounds here. Didn't have a lick of problem. We backed up Sarasota Police Department and helped with traffic details and that kind of thing. But the media here locally, at least, just reported all the negative, and there really wasn't anything negative in terms of the Trump event itself. But I think people are catching on. And I've mentioned this on your show before, Mark. I've got over 100,000 followers on social media. My local newspaper has 40,000 plus subscriptions. So they're dying. Our message is improving.
Yeah.
So I think that's indicative of how the population feels. I really do.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing down there. And it was remarkable to see that turnout. And it's interesting, as we go to the break, I'll leave it with this. And he lost the election. Biden couldn't get 20 people in 20 cars 20 feet apart. And somehow Trump lost the election. And this went on across the country by rally after rally after rally. And Nikki Fried, I want to talk a little bit about Nikki Fried with you, too. A lot of guys, I understand, a lot of things that happen in Florida roll out across the country to your state. It matters what's going on down there. We'll be back with Sheriff Kurt Hoffman right after this. As host of this program, I am proud, very proud, to welcome Daniel Defense to our airwaves. Founded in 2001 by President and CEO Marty Daniel, Daniel Defense is now the world's leading manufacturer of the finest AR-15 style rifles, AR style pistols, bolt-action rifles, and accessories for civilian, law enforcement, and military customers. Daniel Defense is a family-owned and privately held firearms manufacturer in Black Creek, Georgia, not far from these AAR studios. 20 years of manufacturing freedom has evolved into one of the most respected and recognizable firearms the world has ever seen. All Daniel Defense products carry a lifetime warranty, and the Daniel Defense name remains unmatched in quality, precision, and world-class customer service. To learn more, visit DanielDefense.com. That's DanielDefense.com.
Car, the 25th anniversary K9 and the venerable P9 in various configurations. Magnum Research, the classic Desert Eagle available in 50, 44, 357, and the new 429 DE calibers. The BFR biggest, finest revolvers and the Magnum Light. Auto Ordnance, the classics. Thompson, that's right, the Tommy gun, the incredible M1 carbine, and the one and only classic 1911. Car Firearms, a family of brands standing for your family's freedom.
Hey guys, it's Mark, and from listening to the program, you're very well aware that our partner GunBroker.com is celebrating over 20 years in business, but what you didn't know is there are now over 6 million registered users. 6 million registered users. Think about that for a second. And it gets better because those 6 million registered users can view over 1 million items listed every single day. 1 million items every single day. I promise that what you can't find on your store shelves, you can find at GunBroker.com, and you will. It's real simple to register. Visit GunBroker.com today to get started. 100% free, always will be.
It's well known that we live in a world where even good police officers can become targets for frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom liability insurance for police officers to eliminate your exposure, to help prevent you from becoming a target, and to protect you from unscrupulous lawyers. And if lawsuits do arise, we aggressively fight them. We do this in part by encouraging our law enforcement clients to take the X Insurance See It, Say Something pledge. We're the very best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions, so call us today or have your insurance agent call us, and we can work with them to fill any gaps in your existing insurance policy. But call today, and let's get that target off your back. At X Insurance, we believe in good police officers, and we believe in protecting good police officers. For more information, visit xinsurance.com. That's xinsurance.com.
The North American Arms 32 NAA Guardian pistol, designed in partnership with Conbor Ammunition. The 32 NAA fires a cartridge based on the .380 case, but necked down to hold the smaller .32 bullet. The result is a remarkable gain in ballistic performance that produces more velocity, energy, and stopping power than any conventional .32 ACP, .380 ACP, or .380 ACP plus P. The 32 NAA from North American Arms. For more information, please visit NorthAmericanArms.com. That's NorthAmericanArms.com.
America was founded through the blood of hard-fighting, hard-drinking men who believed in freedom and whiskey, who laid down their lives and their fortunes forging the bedrock of this republic, and in doing so created a new species of man, the American. Lead Slingers Whiskey was founded by 7 combat veterans who were tired of people afraid to support the Second Amendment. Together, they brought their love of American bourbon whiskey to freedom-loving, like-minded Americans. For more information and to read the story of Lead Slingers Whiskeys and Rum, visit leadslingerswhiskey.com today.
following segment of Armed American Radio is being brought to you by Defender Coffee. When you drink Defender Coffee, you're making a donation to a gun rights organization of your choice that protects and defends your freedoms. Welcome back to the show. You are, and that's very cool. When you drink Defender Coffee like we do, we just got a 5-pound bag. It delivered on Saturday. And let me tell you something, it's never lost on me. When I drink coffee, I'm supporting the Second Amendment Foundation. How does that work? Simple. The Second Amendment Foundation gets a portion of the profit because I check a little box off when I order the coffee, and they get a portion of the donation, of the profit. So I'm supporting the Second Amendment Foundation, drinking coffee that's better than anything I can get in my grocery store. It's the Liberty Roast Organic, and I'm supporting the Second Amendment. It's a face palm. It's a no-brainer. DefenderCoffee.com. Use the promo code AAR, and you get a discount off the purchase price. That, too, is a no-brainer. We'll talk more about our great partners. We try our best, our level best, to make it as easy as possible for you to support these amazing people that support us. I don't know if you know this or not. I think we reported it last week, but the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, of which I'm a board member, announced the addition of more gun-hating companies to the gun-hating company list over at ccrkba.org. You can go check it out, ccrkba.org. So when you've got companies that support the right to bear arms, that step up and say, not only do we want to support you, but we want to support your Armed American News Division. We want to support everything going forward. Carr Firearms Group Studios, Lead Slingers Microphone. These companies deserve our support. Please support them. It's easy to do. Let's go back to Sheriff Kurt Hoffman, Sarasota County, Florida's active sheriff right now. Sheriff, Florida is a very unique place. And it's unique in the sense that from a gun rights perspective, it has had a massive, massive influence on gun laws across this country. We can go back to 1987, the modern quote-unquote permitting process that's now in place was a direct result of Florida's 1987 permitting process that rolled across the country. Now, virtually all states have some permitting process, albeit a handful of blue states that won't, they take your money, but they won't give you a permit. New Jersey, Hawaii, many places in California, New York, etc. Well, I can't really say that about New York City, but I know a lot of people up in red New York that do have permits, but they still make it difficult to do so, and it's expensive to do so. So, Sheriff, now we're at a point where we see constitutional carry rolling across the country. Florida's not a constitutional carry state, but Florida wrote the book on strong preemption laws, telling counties and cities and local municipalities, get off my lawn. You're not going to be able to make a patchwork set of laws around this state. The state is going to do it. Then the state went and put teeth in it. And it's now a $5,000 fine, and the individuals who ignore state preemption in their local municipalities can be sued individually, fined individually, and be tossed out of office, correct? And now we've got Nikki Fried, who on the night of the election when she won, the only Democrat in the state that won anything, made the following statement: because the agriculture department that she's the head of controls the permits in a convoluted way. It's hard to explain. I'll let you explain that to the listeners. But now she's trying to go after the state preemption. I mean, these Democrats, they just don't know when to stop, Sheriff. My gosh.
Well, the one thing that Florida is lacking in, and you're right, we did lead the way in a lot of respects, Mark. This constitutional carry has got to happen. And, I'm going to be down at the Florida Sheriff's Association meeting with all the sheriffs in Naples later this month. And that's something that Sheriff Ivey and I are going to push and try to get the sheriffs behind that. Now, as far as Nikki Fried, I can just tell you, during COVID, I've said this on your show before, she basically shut down all of her satellite offices, was not processing anything. I was literally putting hundreds and hundreds of people through my office to be fingerprinted, only for them to knock on her door and see the closed sign on there. Even post-COVID, she was very slow in reopening. And listen, Nikki Fried's got her own problems, right? I mean, her fiance is $5 million in marijuana stocks, and she's pushing all these, lackadaisical marijuana regulations and commercial marijuana, and there's a reason behind that too. But you mentioned the preemption law, and Florida's preemption law is great, and it just recently got some additional teeth in that if you sue a local individual or governmental entity, Mark, and they say, you know what, looks like I'm going to lose this. I'm just going to drop the ordinance, take the ordinance off the books, take the law off the books. Now Florida statute says you can still go after that individual for attorney's fees. You are the prevailing party if they overturn the ordinance or change it to modify it based on the lawsuit that you brought. So it's got teeth.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me stop you. Sheriff, let me stop you. Say that again. Let me make sure I'm hearing that correctly, because that I was unaware of that, and that is throwing an additional claw in there. What? Say that again.
It is. So, and it happened this legislative cycle. And what happened around Florida, Mark, is people would pass these draconian things that you see in San Jose, Tucson, Santa Fe, and then some of these crazy ordinances restricting Second Amendment. And then what would happen was when you got sued as an individual, whether you're the mayor or city council member or the chief of police or whatever the case may be, they would just drop the ordinance, modify the ordinance, or fix it before it could get into court, and you would be the prevailing party and be able to get attorney's fees. This legislative cycle, the Florida legislature has said, if you sue to enforce your Second Amendment rights, and the legislative body, whoever that may be, Board of County Commissioners, county, city government, whatever, decides to just take that ordinance off the books in order to prevent you from having a case in controversy, which we know we have to have in order to be able to get into circuit court, then you are considered the prevailing party and can still seek damages and attorney's fees. So that prevents those folks from throwing those ordinances out there and making somebody have to go and spend their hard-earned money to be able to get their Second Amendment rights. Now you're going to be able to sue those individuals and get it, even if they take it off the books. It's a good law.
Well, that's interesting, because that is essentially what New York did to avoid that Supreme Court case. Exactly, when it was found moot. Right. It's just at a little bit larger scale at the state level, that's great to know. See, this is why we talk about some of the things that happen in Florida, because this is what you want occurring in your state. And when something like that can roll across the country, another legislative body looks at this and says, wow, we want to do the same thing. And that's good. That's positive. Now, I think I've told you this. I'm very upset about where we are not in the state of Georgia, where this show emanates from, relative to constitutional carry. We missed a few boats here. We should have been on those boats. It should have been a long time. We should never be sitting where we are today, but we are. Hopefully we'll fix that problem, but we've got some problems at the top now that might delay us, and it could be years. I hope I'm wrong. But Florida, is there any movement on constitutional carry in Florida? You said you were going to talk to Sheriff Ivey. That's Wayne Ivey. He's a great guy. We've had him on the program. We need to bring the two of you on together, because if Florida can make that happen, I believe you're probably going to see 5, 6, 7 other states pop pretty quickly after that, Sheriff.
Yes, and it's really surprising,
including this
on our history, Mark, and some of what you've just alluded to, that we're not there yet. Now, I don't know how it is in Georgia and other states, but our legislature serves in 2-year cycles. And unfortunately, you get elected, and it seems like you turn around and you're right back into the election cycle again. And that does contribute to a little bit of a turnover in the state house. Not all the time, but sometimes. So you get a little bit of momentum. You get your legislative delegation, which I have a very good all-Republican legislative delegation here in Sarasota and Manatee County and Charlotte County to the south of me. And when you have that turnover in Tallahassee, after you've made a little bit of ground, you kind of, one step forward and 2 steps back. But
well, Sheriff, let me stop you there because of the break. What's interesting, you also have people like Dalal Portilla a few years ago that were standing in the way. Republicans in name only, down there in that very blue area, southeastern area of the state, who were stepping on gun rights by not bringing things to the floor. There's that, too. We'll be back with Sheriff Kurt Hoffman right after this. We're going to take you to the other coast when we come back. Don't go away. As host of this program, I am proud, very proud, to welcome Daniel Defense to our airwaves. Founded in 2001 by President and CEO Marty Daniel, Daniel Defense is now the world's leading manufacturer of the finest AR-15 style rifles, AR style pistols, bolt-action rifles, and accessories for civilian, law enforcement, and military customers. Daniel Defense is a family-owned and privately held firearms manufacturer in Black Creek, Georgia, not far from these AAR studios. 20 years of manufacturing freedom has evolved into one of the most respected and recognizable firearms the world has ever seen. All Daniel Defense products carry a lifetime warranty, and the Daniel Defense name remains unmatched in quality, precision, and world-class customer service. To learn more, visit DanielDefense.com. That's DanielDefense.com.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday night special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Slippers. They took me over 2 years to develop because I didn't want just an ordinary slipper. My slippers are meant to be worn all day long, no matter what you're doing, whether you're inside or outside. My slippers come with an exclusive 3-tier cushioning system that you won't find in any other slipper. It combines 2 layers of foam, including my proprietary My Pillow foam and a patented impact shell made from U.S. soybeans. My 3-tier cushioning system is going to help relieve pressure points, provide that micro support you need for all-day comfort, and help prevent fatigue. Not only that, my slippers are made with high-quality leather and a premium indoor-outdoor sole that make them extremely durable. I personally guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable slippers you'll ever own.
Hey, it's Mark, and you know Mike supports the right to keep and bear arms, and we support Mike. Please visit MyPillow.com and click on the radio listener specials box and use promo code AAR for all of Mike's great discounts. Or call 800-978-9358, and remember, use promo code AAR.
As a gun owner, have you ever thought about the liability that would come with having to use your weapon in self-defense? Or the liability that would come with having one of your guns stolen or misused? Or perhaps you work in a profession like security or law enforcement that requires you to carry a gun. Regardless, it's well known that responsible gun owners and security professionals across the country have become targets of frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom firearm liability insurance to eliminate your exposure and to protect you from unscrupulous lawyers. And if lawsuits do arise, we aggressively fight them. We're the very best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions, so call us today or have your insurance agent call us, and we can work with them to fill any gaps in your existing policy. But call today, and let's get that target off your back. For more information, visit xinsurance.com. That's xinsurance.com.
This segment of Armed American Radio is being brought to you by Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Don't forget to use the promo code AAR at mypillow.com. Welcome back. All right, we're halfway through this hour already, which means we're halfway through the show. I can't believe it. Fastest individual hours in radio, no doubt. All of this being presented to you today by X Insurance here on this Lead Slingers microphone in the Car Firearms Group studios with our newest presenting sponsor, Daniel Defense. Freedom, passion, precision. Daniel Defense, that's the real deal. Let me just put it this way. I'm working on my order now, okay? It's incredible. And when I get close enough and I'm able to, I'll tell you exactly what I'm looking at. But I'm doing a bill. Oh, boy. It's a dream come true. And if you know anything about Daniel Defense, make sure to visit them, DanielDefense.com, and all of our sponsors, please. We're going to be doing a lot of work, very close work with Daniel Defense in the coming weeks, months, and years ahead. There's no question in my mind. And it will benefit all of us. It will benefit the nation. I can promise you that. Sheriff Hoffman, welcome back, my brother. Before I go to the other coast, hey, man, fun to have you here. Before I go to the other coast, my news division at Armed American News has an incredible story up that was written as an opinion piece by Lee the Gunwriter Williams, who you know, there, formerly from Sarasota, who's now out in Washington, where he was there at the Sarasota Herald-Tribune. The uncommon valor of Tampa police officer Brian Velasquez, who was involved in that officer shooting recently of a John Rubin, who literally, he gave chase to Rubin, the perp down the street, 14 times, screaming, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Do that 14 times, yell it out. You know what it's like, Sheriff. when the individual not only didn't drop the gun, but stopped in the middle of the foot pursuit, turned around calmly, took 2 steps towards Officer Velasquez, and raised his right arm with that pistol. And the freeze frame of the officer's body cam is chilling because it stops right at the moment that muzzle is pointed directly at Officer Velasquez before he unloaded a barrage of 4 shots, dropping Ruben, who died on the road there. And I got to tell you, this was textbook stuff. Can you tell us what happened here and why this isn't making national news? Was it because it was such a clean shoot? What happened here?
Well, you do have the body cam footage, obviously. And by the way, if Lee's listening out there, and he probably is, that was an excellent article that he wrote. Lee knows where he's coming from when he says that, and he categorized it very well in terms of what's going to happen to that officer and the process he's going to have to go through. But yeah, he did say drop the weapon 14 times. But in my experience, Mark, across this country, and I look at officer injuries and officer fatalities on FBI's reports all of the time. More often than not, that is what we do. We're trained to give, verbal cues to drop the weapon. Now, he did it many, many times. You just have to wonder, in this climate and environment, did he say it that many times because he knows, eventually if I've got to take this person's life, the grief that I am going to get? Because, frankly, he probably put himself in harm's way and in peril saying it that many times, and obviously that muzzle got up on him before he was able to squeeze some rounds off there. So that's my fear in my young deputies that are out there today and they see what's going on in the world. Are you going to give that person, 2 or 3 more times to drop that weapon when you probably should be taking appropriate action to protect yourself or another citizen who's in danger? Yeah. But in this case, you're right. It just hasn't got much attention. But frankly, Mark, in some of these places, if it's a white officer and an African-American suspect or minority suspect, that, seems to the media gravitates to those kind of stories. And, day in and day out, there's thousands of cops doing their job every day, making 1 million traffic stops a year where we don't have to use force on anybody. I just wonder if what went through that officer's mind is, I better make sure I overly document this to my own peril to make sure that I'm not out of a job next week. But I think Lee hit it on the head. For anybody that hasn't read Lee's story in terms of what an officer goes through when that happens, he was absolutely 100% spot on. I would recommend it.
The Uncommon Valor of Tampa Police Officer Brian Velasquez. Read it. It is phenomenal work from Lee the Gunwriter Williams. You can find it on the home page, on the news page, and we separate news from opinion there so you know what you're getting. But in this particular case, Lee did an outstanding job. It's at armedamericannews.com. Go check it out. I have to say this, that with my hatred of the mainstream press, I know how these punks operate. I know what they're looking to do. They're looking to gin up trouble. I guarantee you the press looked at this, watched that body cam video, and went, we can't gin up any trouble with this. This was clearly, this officer waited almost. Did he wait almost too long? I don't want to second guess an armchair quarterback, but boy, I'm telling you what, when I watched that video in slow motion, he probably would have been justified in shooting before he did. Am I right on that?
You are right, and I'll just tell you, our last officer-involved shooting that happened back in January was basically a 22-minute standoff, and we were having a conversation with this person, and that traditionally is a little bit longer than you normally see. And if you're in a safe place and you're able to do it, the officer in Tampa wasn't, then you can certainly try that and should try that. But again, Mark, I just think in what's going on in the world today, let's put it this way, I never thought about it in 1989 when I came onto this job, and I've been in a few of those situations. It didn't cross my mind. I relied on my training. I did what I was supposed to do, and I really wasn't worried about the Monday morning quarterbacking. There weren't cell phones and video cameras and people watching you and security cameras on every corner. But the world that these officers are living in now, and one of the topics at the seminar I told you I was at was recruitment, and everybody's seeing recruitment is down, and particularly in these large cities. How would you like to go to work in San Francisco or Chicago? Or
I don't know how they do it, man.
Or Baltimore. I don't either.
I don't know how they do
Oakland Police Department. Oakland Police Department now in California, they've been under Department of Justice consent decree for a decade. Can you imagine working in conditions like that? So I'm not surprised that we're having recruiting difficulty, and this officer is alive. I'm glad. That seemed like a lot of verbal commands before he responded.
Yeah, it almost seemed exciting. I was thinking the same thing you were. I was wondering what was going through his mind. Obviously, the current state of affairs had to be going through his mind, and it was unfortunate, but I believe that he felt and knew that he was going to have to shoot to end this. If you watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll have to go look at the video. But as I said, we've got it up for you at Armed American News. I would highly recommend you go take a look at it. It's really something. And if you wonder what these officers go through, this shows it. It was incredible footage. Okay, let's go to the West Coast, San Jose, California. Just when you think that these people can't get any dumber than they are, you got this nonsense. Tell us what's happening out there.
Well, it's the communist state of California, right? San Jose City Council decided they were going to pass this ordinance, and this is in response, for those of you that follow the shooting that they had out there at the Transit Authority. There were 9 individuals' lives that were taken by somebody, obviously, that had mental illness that worked. But the San Jose City Council's response to that, Mark, is we're going to make people in the city of San Jose, California, carry gun insurance. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're in a mental state where you're going to go and kill somebody, I don't think you're worried about whether or not the county is going to cite you or the city's going to cite you under a city ordinance for not having gun insurance. But they're going to make mandatory gun insurance a condition of you owning a firearm in the city of San Jose. And it's a 2-part ordinance. The second part is that there will be a fee that you have to pay to have your firearm that is used to compensate victims of shootings. Now, I've heard you say it 100 times. I've heard Alan Gottlieb say it 100 times. You're not going to pass ordinances and regulations like this that criminals are going to pay any attention to. This is not going to stop folks with mental illness. It's not going to stop criminals. But the fact that you would have to go out and purchase an insurance policy in order for you to exercise the Second Amendment. And again, you've heard me say this, if it was the First Amendment or the Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment, they wouldn't be getting away with that. Never.
And listeners, there's always method to the madness here. Think back what we were talking about with preemption. This is why it is so vital that these goofy localities cannot get away with this stuff. That's why you've got to fight for preemption in your state. And if you already have it, fight to strengthen it. That's how we beat back the Chipmans and the regulators across the country. Wow, crazy stuff. One more segment with the sheriff. Back after this. As host of this program, I am proud, very proud, to welcome Daniel Defense to our airwaves. Founded in 2001 by President and CEO Marty Daniel, Daniel Defense is now the world's leading manufacturer of the finest AR-15 style rifles, AR style pistols, bolt-action rifles, and accessories for civilian, law enforcement, and military customers. Daniel Defense is a family-owned and privately held firearms manufacturer in Black Creek, Georgia, not far from these AAR studios. 20 years of manufacturing freedom has evolved into one of the most respected and recognizable firearms the world has ever seen. All Daniel Defense products carry a lifetime warranty, and the Daniel Defense name remains unmatched in quality, precision, and world-class customer service. To learn more, visit DanielDefense.com. That's DanielDefense.com. Defender Coffee was created by Patriots for Patriots. It's coffee for Americans devoted to defending the Second Amendment. It's coffee for Americans who understand that if you don't fight for your freedom, you lose it. That's why Defender Coffee donates profits to gun rights organizations that fight to defend the Second Amendment. When you drink Defender Coffee, every single cup defends your right to keep and bear arms. Visit DefenderCoffee.com today and get free shipping when you join the coffee club. DefenderCoffee.com.
From Crossbreed Holsters comes the Women's Appendix. With softer leather and smoother corners, the Women's Appendix holster was designed specifically with the female body in mind. This holster is intended for popular small firearms and has no cant, so it can be worn on the front side of the body. Featuring a Crossbreed hand-molded pocket for a perfect fit, we ensure the Women's Appendix is your answer for any woman who wants to carry a small firearm in a front position. This versatile holster can be worn in the standard appendix or cross-draw fashion. Find your perfect fit today at crossbreedholsters.com.
Gun owners across the country have become targets of frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom firearm liability insurance to eliminate your exposure and to protect you from unscrupulous lawyers. And if lawsuits arise, we aggressively fight them. We're the best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions. So call us today or have your agent call us, and let's get that target off your back. For more information, visit xinsurance.com.
The Second Amendment Foundation has grown into what many believe to be the most important gun rights organization in America. With hundreds of thousands of active members, it is the Second Amendment Foundation defending your rights in courtrooms across the nation. Winning these battles in local jurisdictions all the way to the Supreme Court requires tireless effort and help from you. Please help the Second Amendment Foundation defend your freedoms by joining or donating today at saf.org. Join us at saf.org. Thank you.
As a gun owner, have you ever thought about the liability that would come with having to use your weapon in self-defense? Or the liability that would come with having one of your guns stolen or misused? Or perhaps you work in a profession like security or law enforcement that requires you to carry a gun. Regardless, it's well known that responsible gun owners and security professionals across the country have become targets of frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom firearm liability insurance to eliminate your exposure and to protect you from unscrupulous lawyers. And if lawsuits do arise, we aggressively fight them. We're the very best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions, so call us today or have your insurance agent call us, and we can work with them to fill any gaps in your existing policy. But call today, and let's get that target off your back. For more information, visit xinsurance.com. That's xinsurance.com.
This final segment of Armed American Radio is being sponsored by Crossbreed Holsters. Make sure to visit crossbreedholsters.com. Now let's get back to me. Yeah, please make sure to visit crossbreedholsters.com. The promo code over there is AAR21. You get 15% off across the board. AAR21. That's not the discount. That's the year. AAR21. The promo code AAR21 gets you 15% off everything over at Crossbreed Holsters. Now they run specials that are much better than the 15% off. But if what you want isn't on special at that moment in time, you get the 15% off every single day as an Armed American Radio listener. Please make sure to visit all of our partners. Buy a pillow from Mike Lindell. I bought a couple more last week and some of the Giza sheets. I mean, the stuff is so comfortable, and I support the Second Amendment using our own promo code, AAR. That's how it works. Support these people who are under this cancel culture, this threat to their livelihoods. I mean, thousands of employees of these people. It's just mind-boggling. That's how you support them back. Support them. Spend a little bit of money on them. Buy a pillow. It's $29. Use the promo code AAR. Get the discounts and let them know that gun owners support them. Please, I ask you to do that. Crossbreed, we just mentioned. Daniel Defense, of course, and all of this being brought by X Insurance, DanielDefense.com, X Insurance. The insurance that we're talking about, San Jose, is not the same as the insurance policy that you have with X Insurance. Make sure to go check it out. Use my portal to make it really easy for you so you don't have to search around. Just go to armedamericanradio.com or Armed American News and click on X Insurance. It'll take you right smack to that page through the porthole. You get everything you need to know about it. It's very important. Gunbroker.com, North American Arms, the minis. These are the Daniel Defense of equality in the mini handguns, the 22 revolvers over there at North American Arms. I carry one with me religiously. Join the Second Amendment Foundation, please. Visit Bursa. Check out Bursa, my BP9CC. I still have not had an opportunity to shoot that gun yet, but I promise when I do, I'll let you know. It is absolutely beautiful, and I do have some leather for it. I've just got to have some time to get outside and get that thing rolling. Please visit all of our partners across the country. It's very, very important. Sheriff, I had some great comments come in. One said the officer in Florida was more than likely issuing pleas as well as commands. In other words, please don't make me do this. Just pleading as a plea, not just a command. But I would tend to agree with that. What do you think?
I do too, and I'll tell you, Mark, the last officer-involved shooting we had where we had to kill a suspect, those two deputies of mine still live with that every day. I think people think that, we're kind of robotic in law enforcement, and we're those two guys, when I talk to them to this day, it still bothers them that the person put themselves in the situation where they had to do what they had to do. And Lee talks about that a little bit in his article of what that officer has to go through. Now, you've taken the life of another human being, and that's something, it's the last thing you want to do in this profession. You get in this profession to help people, and that's very unfortunate. But actually, I think the comment is probably accurate, Mark.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. Sad but true. Somebody knew I was going to say that. All right, guys, we're going to move to. Let's go out to Tucson now. I love Arizona. Tucson's a beautiful city. It's beautiful. I've spoken at meetings in Tucson downtown. It's such a gorgeous place, but it's Democrat controlled. It's blue in the heart of a red state. Associated Press is reporting officials in the city of Tucson plan to ignore Arizona's new Second Amendment sanctuary law that bars state and local governments from enforcing certain federal gun regulations, possibly setting up a court fight as a growing number of cities and counties in the United States declare themselves similar firearm havens. That number is almost 2,000 now, by the way. Cherokee County, Georgia officials, get off your duffs and answer my emails. Man up and respond to me. I'm not going to quit. I can promise you that, and you know it. The move by Democrat Mayor Regina Romero and the city council, again, puts Tucson and Republican-led state at odds over how to regulate gun sales and use. Sheriff, I guarantee you Tucson is a illegal immigrant sanctuary. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. What gives here?
Wouldn't surprise me at all. And Mark, this just reinforces the point we were making before about Florida's preemption law, and now we've got additional teeth in our law for folks to be able to prevent this from happening. Because what happens in San Jose and now in Tucson is they're going to go against the will of the people. They're going to go against the Constitution, and it's going to cause somebody to have to step up, hire a lawyer, sue them, get into court, fight big government. And those cases should never even have to go to court if they had a preemption law like we've got here in Florida. So Tucson has just said they're going to ignore Arizona's sanctuary state. Hopefully, the state of Arizona put teeth in theirs too, that if you ignore the declaration from your state legislature, that there will be consequences at the local level. And certainly when Tucson tries to enforce that, it's going to be deemed to be unconstitutional. And much like San Jose, here's what's going to happen, Mark, is at the end of the day, we know that these kind of laws do not prevent anybody who's, motivated to go hurt somebody else, whether it's with a knife, a car, a gun, or whatever. So there's that. Then the other thing is now your mayors in these two cities, San Jose and Tucson, are going to cost, taxpayers in those jurisdictions are going to write a check. I'm telling you right now, they are going to write a check. Now, it may take a little bit longer because they don't have Florida's preemption law, but you're not going to reduce violence, and you're basically just going to make your citizens have to cough up money for attorney's fees when these folks prevail. And in San Jose, the district attorney, I believe his last name is Rosen, is standing up there with the mayor. Now, I was a prosecutor for 8 years. I'm telling you what, if you've got an elected prosecutor who's going to stand up there and try to go against their oath to protect the Constitution, like the oath that I took, then you ought to get that guy out of office and find another district attorney there in California. But these are just two examples of where if you don't have strong preemption law at the state level, your citizens are going to suffer.
Well, when you talk about the money, Sheriff, I have seen and physically held the check for over $300,000+ that Chicago had to write to Alan Gottlieb's Second Amendment Foundation. I held it when I was in there. It was in Washington State. And while it's a good feeling to know that we win these things in courtrooms, it pains me that the agenda-driven party that hates your guns hates your taxpayer, that they will waste your money. This is just a sheer hatred of and disrespect for the amount of money that they take from people's paychecks, that they will use it on frivolous things like this and literally take that money direct out of those people's pockets. That's coming from your pockets, listeners. That's coming from your pockets. So you've got to do as the sheriff said. Get these people out. Let's talk about prosecutors right now. You were a prosecutor. The vast majority of crime across this country, we know where it's occurring. We know who's causing it. You know who the bad actors are in Sarasota County. You know where they're at. You know where you get the calls from. You know where the criminal dens are. We all know that. And it's not coming from law-abiding citizens. So when you have prosecutors that refuse to prosecute the people that your men and women arrest, what does that say to the criminal?
Well, you see some of these jurisdictions now go to, misdemeanor offenses across the board are no longer going to be prosecuted. So you're the store owner who keeps having your stuff stolen. You're the guy that keeps getting his building vandalized. You keep getting your lawnmower stolen out of your carport or whatever. These district attorney offices around the country now are saying we're not even going to prosecute misdemeanors. Then you have this whole bail reform movement, which is fine. If it's an offense that you can be released on your own recognizance, I'm all for it. But they're releasing way too many people,
violent criminals,
too serious violence crimes, and they're going right back out in our community. And I'm fortunate here in Sarasota County. I've got a Republican.
You got 10 seconds, Sheriff.
And we're doing great things here in Sarasota. Hey, thanks for having me on, Mark. I appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. Always a pleasure. The comments of you being in here today, we can't wait to bring you back. Sheriff Carter, so many people on here said, I wish you were my sheriff. God bless you for the work that you're doing down there. You know we've got your back. That's Sheriff Kurt Hoffman, just doing amazing work in Sarasota County, Florida. Don't you wish he was your sheriff, right? You can make that happen by voting. It's pretty much that simple. The roundtable coming up next. Going to be a good one. Justin Moon from Car Arms, CEO, will be here. Brad Primo, CEO of Lead Slingers. And Andy Hoosier making a rare appearance on the weekend show here in the roundtable, sitting in for Neil McCabe. We'll be back after this. Enjoy the rest of your few-minute break.
You've just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by X Insurance. X Insurance on the Armed American Radio Network.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday night special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
Our Second Amendment rights are under attack like never before, and we need you to take action now. The 2020 Democrat candidates have declared war on your right to keep and bear arms. Joe Biden supports gun prohibition and confiscation of your guns. Anti-gun billionaire Michael Bloomberg has vowed to spend millions to support Biden, and his number one policy issue is to take away your Second Amendment rights. It is urgent that every American show your support for our right to keep and bear arms. Please call 800-497-4775 to sign our petition in support of President Trump and your Second Amendment rights. Now is the time to defend our right to keep and bear arms, and it starts with your phone call to 800-497-4775. President Trump has protected our Second Amendment rights, and we need to show we support his presidency. 800-497-4775. Paid for by American Political Action Committee, PAC, which is responsible for the content of this message.